Hello everyone, I am Meetu. Welcome to yet another chapter of Agilecast. It's a podcast series for Agile enthusiasts from ZBA Agile Community of Consulting and Transformation. ZBA Agile Consulting and Transformation, which is known as XACT, is a community of seasoned Agile coaches, principal consultant, product management consultant, scrum masters, and overall a passionate Agile enthusiast. We firmly believe in our core value, that is knowledge sharing, which is the only way you learn and care about your community. We have been hosting various webinars, meetups, and annual conferences named Agile NCR for many years now. And off lately, we decided to share our podcast series, which can help our fellow Agile enthusiasts in exploring the well proven best practices in the space of business agility. Earlier to this series, there were two more podcast series we released earlier, which was by Mr. Kalyan on community of practices and by Mr. Rangaraju on Scrum implementation in the non-software environment. Now in this series, I'm going to talk about approach to Agile transformation initiatives. As part of working with various small and large-scale enterprise Agile transformation initiatives, I have encountered many challenges, many situations which has been an opportunity for me to experience or realize that what could have been done better or what could have been avoided so that these transformation journeys can be moving faster to deliver the outcomes. The purpose of this podcast is to share the best practices with our community to further strengthen the journey for all. Do you believe that we all are trying to adopt the journey towards Agile because it's more sellable to our internal and external stakeholders and to our customers? However, the bigger question is that are we thinking enough to agree or define what are we trying to achieve as our business goal by running these transformations? Why does this transformation do not deliver the result what management expects or expected? Because if a transformation initiative which is not leading to a tangible business outcomes would not be loved or accepted by investors, stakeholders, leadership, or by your customers. So before we jump into discussing the Agile transformation approaches, let's first discuss the need of running these transformations. Do we know the current issues which is letting us down in front of our competitors and our customers? If not, what are we trying to achieve by these agile transformations? And at times it sounds like suggesting medicines to a patient without even asking for their symptoms, or without even doing a diagnosis, the right diagnosis. And with the pre-notions, we believe that everyone is suffering of the same issue. Even though if we take the possibility of same suffering, the same medicine may not help all. It's equally important to observe the behavior, the type of suffering to suggest the variations in the medicines too. In the similar lines, before we jump into start our agile transformation journey, it's better to diagnose first, understand the history, the past performance, assess the behavior, understand the expectations, and then suggest the way forward. Now let's do a deep dive in enterprise transformation framework and its key practices. First and foremost, these transformations expect a big change in the organization culture, behavior, values, and principles. And the key contributors are people, practices, tools, and technology. Now there are two approaches to anchor any change in the organization. Either we start bottom up or top down. In bottom up approach, for example, if we take one of a project or a program who starts to adopt agile practices like Scrum, Kanban, we see that the team is able to achieve their team level targets, but they always struggle to navigate in the system. And why? Because the other elements in the system are still performing or working with old methods. And because of these systematic challenges, the transformation initiatives get killed beyond a time, beyond a period. On the other side, in top-down approach, it started by management or leadership, and they also develop their understanding and try to link this initiative with the expected business outcomes. Now, in this approach, we are first trying to change the system itself. So, the other components of the system support the small change and also mend their ways of working to make this pilot successful. And once we see positive results, then we replicate to other areas and create a ripple effects of these positive changes. Now, this is my own experience of participating in various agile transformation initiatives till now, and based our varied transformation experience and engagements, we have learned that leadership is a foundation for leading these changes in the enterprises. Only leadership can develop a sense of urgency around the need for change, and this may help you spark the initial motivation to get things moving. Now let me take you through with transformation framework and its best practices that we follow to accelerate the transformation journey for our customers. It's a 9-step process to drive the sustained transformation. Let's understand each of these stages now. The first step is identify the need for the change. Now the organizations arrive at the need for change from a wide range of starting points. And the organizations who are able to establish the need, they typically meet one of the two conditions that I'm going to talk about. First could be a burning platform or a program or a product or a service line. So there is a need to change a product or a service is obvious. The company is failing to compete and the existing ways of doing business is obviously inadequate to achieve a new solution. Jobs are at stake. This is an easier case for change. Now the another reason for identifying these starting points could be a visionary leadership. In the absence of a burning platform, leadership must drive change proactively by taking a stand for a better future state. However, the people in the organization may not see or feel the urgency to do the additional hard work that comes with change. After all, they are successful now. Why should they assume that they won't continue to be successful in future? Isn't a change risky? So in this case, leaders must create a clear and compelling vision for change that answers why change is needed. They must constantly communicate and impress the need for change on all, and making it clear that maintaining the status quo is simply unacceptable. Now coming to step 2, which is establish the vision for change. A compelling and well understood reason to change is necessary, but it's still insufficient for an organization to reach the tipping point. A clear vision for the future is also critical. And Cotter notes that establishing a vision for change is a primary responsibility of a leadership. The vision for a change provides 3 key benefits. Now this is as per Cotter's approach for change management also. So there are 3 key benefits that you achieve if you are establishing a vision for a change before you even start jumping into a transformation journey. So what are these benefits? So first is purpose. It clarifies the purpose and direction for the change and sets the mission for all to follow. It avoids the potentially confusing details and focuses everyone on the why, not the how of the change. Second, which is equally important, is motivation. The vision helps motivate people by giving them a compelling reason to make the change. And third, the most important aspect is alignment. It helps to start, collaborate and coordinated actions. Until unless your actions are coordinated, any transformation is not going to succeed. Now coming to step 3, which is communicate the vision. What you do with your vision after you create, it will determine your success. Now don't just call special meetings to communicate your vision. Instead, talk about it every chance you get. Use the vision daily to make decisions and solve problems by making it visible to the people who has to follow it. When you keep it fresh on everyone's mind, they'll remember it and respond to it. And it's also important to walk the talk. What you do is far more important and believable. And then what you say. Demonstrate the kind of behavior that you want from others. And that is what is a core responsibility of a leadership in driving the success for this transformation journey. That means a powerful communication of the vision to the people whenever you get a chance. Now, the next step is develop a powerful collation. Now, what does that mean? The first thing is to onboard the management, the leaders, and key stakeholders for the need of this change. Then focus on the continuous education of the management, leaders, and executive so that they can adopt a lean agile mindset and embrace agility, so that they can also lead by examples. Next most important aspect, part of this powerful collation, is defining the business outcomes. What are we trying to achieve as an expected outcome of this transformation initiatives? For example, it could be that we want to create a presence in any of the geography, or we want to launch a new product or a service offering altogether for a customer, or we want to improve a customer rating for any of our existing product offering. So that need to be very clearly documented. What are we trying to achieve out of it? And now these can be done as part of your strategic discussions or business offsite discussions happening in the business meetings, supported by various techniques like SWOT or a TOS matrix. Now, what do we do after we identifying the outcome is we have to now clearly articulate or design the to be state along with a clear measurable goals. When we say clear measurable goals, that's fine that we want to establish our presence in a new geography, but which geography and what percentage of revenue we are targeting? Or what is the percentage of that improvement in the rating that we are expecting? So that need to be a very clearly measurable objectives, which is helping you to achieve those business outcomes. So that's what you do as a next step as part of developing a powerful collation. Now the step 5. Step 5 talks about now we have to identify that program or a portfolio that we want to target for transformation to start with, and which is completely in alignment to achieving my business outcomes. Now, what are the key activities that we do as part of this step is agree on the key initiatives and the vision of that particular program or a portfolio that we are trying to achieve. Then identify the team and the key stakeholders, define your team, create your cross-functional team, right, and the key stakeholders. Then next is assess their as is state and their maturity level in terms of people, process, tool, and technology, and then develop a roadmap and action plan. Now that is long-term and short-term plan. You can also follow SAFE recommended approach and practices here by developing a year plan, which is also termed as a PI roadmap in SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework, which is a collation of or a combination of 3 to 4 program increments or a quarters, if you want to refer it in the quarter frequency. Now the whole idea is to have a long-term goals very clearly documented and available so that we know which path we are heading towards with the clearly documented goals and milestones. Now coming to step 6, which is implementation phase, to transform, inspect, and adopt. Now the first and foremost step as part of this particular step and the stage is communicate the vision to all the stakeholders under that program or a portfolio. Remember, communicating the vision is a leadership responsibility and they have to be participative in this initiative. As said by Edwards Deming, that leadership is such a responsibility that cannot be delegated. So their presence is also equally important to set the context right for the entire program and portfolio, as it is driven by the leadership and there is a sense of urgency that gets created for that change. Another activity that we also focus on, step number 6, is team formations. So we create agile team or a scrum team you want to call it, or we also identify some cross-functional or shared resources teams also. Because when we are talking about a big program, then we may talk about the shared services as well as the agile teams which are working together towards a common objective. But if it is a small project, in that case it may be one or more than one agile team or scrum teams that we are going to talk about. So those needs to be formalized or identified or onboarded. Then empower these teams to develop their own short-term plan with the commitment. And the leadership and the management always has to be available to remove obstacles for your teams so that they can be focused in delivering the committed output. Then another activity that we also see in this phase, this is a major phase of the entire transformation phase, where we are also including various agile methodology practices like Scrum, Kanban, Lean to achieve the team agility. And then inspect and adopt at every opportunity. Because when you follow any of the agile methodology or framework like Scrum, Kanban or Lean, they all bases on the philosophy of transparency, inspection and adoption. That's a 3-pillar of empirical process. So these are the key elements, a typical implementation and execution of this transformation methodology or approach, where the team is actually implementing or executing their committed plan. Now, after the step 6, which is implementation, the important aspect part of the implementation itself is publishing the transformation results as an ongoing transformation results and celebrating the wins. Now that's step number 7. Publish the transformation results as you are implementing and celebrate small wins. Now, making the result transparent to all the stakeholders participating in the journey by means of publishing the matrix performance, the KPIs, the numbers, target achieved or the milestone achieved. And another aspect is nothing motivates more than a success. So celebrate your short-term achievements. Why? Because without this, the critics and the negative thinkers might hurt your progress. So to keep the motivation high for your team, for your people, you have to keep celebrating small wins, and it should become a habit of a team so that they can be self-motivated. That's what the Agile methodology framework expect from the transformation journey. The teams become self-driven and self-motivated. Now coming to step number 8, which is now replicating the proven practices in another program or portfolios. Now, as per Kotter's approach of change management also, the Kotter argues that many change projects fail because victory is declared too early. Now, the real change runs deep. The quick wins are the only beginning of what needs to be done to achieve the long-term change. Right? So celebrating small wins is equally important. However, celebrating those quick wins does not define, okay, your transformation is now done and you are now a agile transformed organization. Because quick wins are the beginning of what needs to be done to achieve that long-term change. Now, launching one new product using a new system is great. But if you can launch 10 such new products, that means the new system is working. And to reach to that 10th success, you need to keep looking for improvements. And each success provides an opportunity to build on what went right and identify and what you can improve. The true essence of transforming the teams or the programs into agile mindset, that they are always inspecting and adopting. So this step emphasizes typically on that replication of the same proven practices to another program or a portfolio is a very, very important step of this transformation journey. And now coming to the last step of the transformation approach framework is anchor new changes in the enterprise, in the system. And finally, to make any change stick for a long term in the enterprise or the organization, it should become part of the core of your organization. It's also important that your company leaders continue to support the change, and this includes existing staff and the new leaders who are brought in. And if you lose the support of these people, you might end up back where you started. So there are few things that you need to be imbibing to anchor new changes. The key element here is to ensure the existing staff and the new leaders, they are all aligned to the new system, to the new process. So practices for hiring new people should be based on expected behavior and cultural fitment. Now organization now uses various mental models to achieve this. So predictive index methodology is one of the mental model that can be used to define the behavioral job profiles for the different roles in the enterprise now needed in the new system. And another is the continuous attention to recognize the efforts of the people who contributed to this transformation journey. That is also equally important to sustain the change for a long term and for a longer duration in the enterprise. Now, the above transformation approach is evolved by learning and experiencing the challenges during the Agile transformation initiatives. As I said earlier, same medicine may not work for all. In the similar lines, there would be variations to above approach basis the customer context and the environments. For example, in services or outsourcing industry, following above methods or a 9-step approach may be very challenging due to the contractual obligations. The key for successful transformation is a strong collaboration across all stakeholders. Even if it is outsourcing or a services industry, there has to be a very, very strong collaboration between the client and the vendor. And if it is led by the customer in those environments, then it would be a desirable journey or experience that one wants to be part of it. Now to summarize quickly all the 9 steps of Agile Transformation Framework, it typically starts with first is identify the need for change, followed by establish the vision for change, then communicate the vision to the team or the stakeholders, develop a very powerful coalition in collaboration with the management and leadership support, then identify the program or a portfolio to be targeted for this transformation in alignment to the expected outcomes, business outcomes. Then move into an implementation phase to transform, inspect and adopt by adopting various agile framework and methodologies like Scrum, Kanban, Lean. Then most important step is publish transformation results and celebrate the small wins. Replicate the proven practices in another program or a portfolio. And the last but not the least is now start anchoring the new change in the enterprise. Now you can always follow this 9-step approach to lead the transformation. However, please remember that each transformation is different and also highly influenced by organizational behaviors, culture and leadership support. At last, change is the only constant in today's rapidly changing environment. Whether you are considering a small change to 1 or 2 programs or an enterprise-wide change, it's common to feel uneasy and scared by the scale of the challenge. But we have to keep on finding out the solutions to handle those challenges during the transformation journey. Now, just to summarize here, there are many theories about how to change. However, what I have shared during my Agilecast is majorly influenced by 3 things. One is the Kotas approach to change management. Second is our proven practices of transformation engagements. And last but not the least is safe recommended practices. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and the Agilecast series for Agile Transformation. Stay tuned for more updates and more Agilecast series in the coming months. Thank you so much.